Hello, folks. Well, we're going to be doing something a little different out at the forge today because I'm trying to do some light work. Got my last chemo in a couple days, trying to rest beforehand. Last time was pretty rough, but you know what? We're going to make it through this. Anyway, no blades today, so we're going to do something different. I'm going to forge a little cross charm to go on a necklace, which is something my mama asked for several months ago. And any of you guys out there, you know, if you're good sons, you know that when mama asks for something, you try to get it for her. So we're going to be using a little piece of, I don't know, that may be 5/16, probably 1/4 inch square stock. And that's going to be our starting stock. Going to be a small cross to go on a necklace. Let's get it hot and smack it a few times. Okay, we're going to start out with that square stock. And the first thing we're going to do is mark it up, and we're going to split with the bandsaw. Now you can do this with a chisel, and I'm going to split the two opposite sides with the bandsaw. So let's go ahead and mark it up, and you can see that I have marked a short section to be the top and a longer section to be the bottom. Now the key part is that they have to overlap in the middle. And actually it should overlap just about the same amount as the thickness of the square stock that you're working with. Now you could do this with a chisel, with a grinder if you've got a small enough grinder, but I'm using the bandsaw because that's what I've got and that's what's easiest. And here we go. There we go. Split, as you can see. Now the first thing to do is get it in the forge and warm it up. Now I'm going to use the Hardy tool and open up the longer section of the split. And that's actually going to fold out and be the top and bottom of the cross. I'm just going to use the angles of the anvil, the corners, to work this out. And I don't know what's going on with this camera today. It usually shows the steel being too hot. Today it looks like it's a lot colder than it actually is. Now I'm just taking my time and working this out. I want to try and keep all my angles as close to square as I can and fix any mistakes as they happen. So I'm going down to the far edge of the anvil where I've got a nice square corner. I'm going to work everything back out square. If you ever let this thin stock get away from you and you let it get deformed too badly, it is a real pain in the neck. It's really tough to get it back where it needs to be. So best to fix any mistakes while you're at it. This is so thin I can only use the lightest of blows with the hammer. And there you can see that's pretty well even. Now I've got it warmed up and I'm going to split open what's going to be the two arms of the cross with the Hardy cutter. Just spreading it out. Try and keep everything sort of even. Get that out of the way. Straighten out my top and bottom, make sure everything's where it needs to be. Now we'll come back and we'll use the corner of the anvil to spread those arms. You can use your Hardy hole, you can use the corner of the anvil, you can use any surface you have to square things up. And you can tickle about with one of these things for hours trying to get perfection, and you're never going to quite get perfection. You just have to come to a point where good enough is good enough. And that's actually fairly close. Maybe one more bump there on that. The trouble is if you move one thing, it tends to shift other things when you're working on one of these crosses. But I think that's pretty much gonna be all right for this part of it. Now what I always do is just go ahead and trim it down to what's going to be fairly close to the final size. Not measuring anything, just eyeballing. Going to trim the arms of the cross down. Going to trim off what would be the top of the upright. And in this case, since this is going to go on a necklace, it needs to be really small. So I'm going to actually trim off the bottom a little too. And you can see what I've got now. Let's warm this back up. And now I'm just going to take a cross-peen hammer. Of course the big one, because my small one, the handle's broken in it. And just use the cross-peen hammer to add some texture and spread out the four arms of the cross. And I think I can get these two done in one heat. Yep, go back to the fire. And come back and do the same thing with the other. Just taking my time, being careful. I want everything to spread evenly so it'll look nice. Just spreading it out with a cross peen. I don't want to flatten it out. I want to leave those peen marks in there for a texture. And that's looking pretty good. I'm really pretty satisfied with that. And I think my mama will be too. But finally, still got to make a hole in it to mount it on a necklace, so I'll just center punch a mark. Just eyeball it, doesn't have to be perfect. And I'll take it to the drill press and drill out a little hole. Okay, so here we go. It actually turned out better than I thought. I hate working with small stock, whether it's forging knife blades out of thin stock or something like this. I hate working with small stock. It's really tedious. But I'm fairly happy with the way that turned out. Is it perfect? No. Is it handmade? Yes. Doesn't have to be perfect. Anyway, if you're still here watching, thanks very much for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video. Be sure and leave us a comment in the comments section. God bless and have a great day.